I've imagined countless times in my life that I might end up in prison, but I never thought I'd be sent to a psychiatric hospital. My days in the psychiatric hospital were the only time in my life when I truly understood the meaning of despair. When you tell the doctor, "I'm not sick," they say everyone here says they're not sick. If you tell them you are sick, they say then you should stay here and get treated. If you tell them you want to leave, they say whoever sent you here will have to take you out. If you ask to see your family, they say your condition isn't suitable for family visits. If you say you don't want to take medication, they force it down your stomach through a tube in your nose. And if you say, "Why don't you just kill me instead?" they respond, "That's your depression getting worse. We'll have to increase your electroshock treatments." The girl in the video is Li Yixue, in her early 20s from Nanchang, Jiangxi Province, China. She graduated from the Northwest University of Finance and Economics 2 years ago. On December 15th, she posted a video exposing the harsh reality of mental hospitals in China, and then she suddenly disappeared. This wasn't the first time. Her disappearance got a lot of attention online, with people all over China asking the authorities where she went. By December 22nd, the Chinese authorities said that Li Yixue had been diagnosed with a personality disorder and had been sent back to a mental hospital for the second time. So what happened? Let's take a closer look at the story. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. It all started on March 14th, 2022, when Li Yixue went to the Dinggong Road police station in Nanchang multiple times to report a civil dispute. On April 14th, she met an auxiliary police officer named Li. After their first meeting, Li, apparently attracted to her looks, asked her to meet at a hotel, claiming it was to discuss the case further. Once they got to the hotel, he said the lobby was too crowded and took her to a room instead. In the room, he attempted to sexually assault her, but ultimately failed. After going home, Li thought about it for a week and decided to report Li for his actions. But the shocking part was that Li wasn't punished at all. Instead, she was forcibly sent to a mental hospital in Jiangxi Province. She was held there for 56 days before her father could get her out. While in the hospital, she was forced to take medication for mental illness. If she refused, the doctors would force the medicine through her nose. When she kept refusing, she was strapped to the bed for days, and then they gave her meds that made her sleepy and caused her to twitch. The worst part? When she fainted, they gave her electroshock therapy. What's even more disturbing is that while she was there, she saw that at least half the patients in the hospital were normal people sent there by the police. They weren't actually mentally ill. Here is what Li Yixue had to say about all of this. I was sent to a mental hospital in Jiangxi Province for reporting an auxiliary police officer, Li, for sexual assault. After posting my video online, many people couldn't believe what happened. They asked, "Is this for real? How can an ordinary auxiliary officer in Nanchang have that much power?" To protect just one officer, they even used the entire police station and the Westlake Police Division. I didn't understand it at first either. I thought, if reporting one auxiliary officer can get me sent to a mental hospital, what would happen if I reported the police chief? Would they kill me? But after I was placed in the Jiangxi Mental Hospital, I learned from other stories that I wasn't the only one wronged. Some people were sent there for minor reasons, like arguing with staff while getting an entry permit, having a disagreement with a police officer, not having a pass during the pandemic, or even just being drunk. There was one woman who got sent there because she bragged to a police officer about losing millions in Macau, and then the officer thought she had delusions. It made me realize that in Nanchang, sending someone to a mental hospital is an easy solution for the police. If someone doesn't meet the conditions for detention, they could just send them to the hospital instead. After 56 days of hopeless, painful days in the hospital, Li Yixue was released. To prove she wasn't mentally ill, she immediately went to an authoritative hospital and a specialized psychiatric hospital in Nanchang for assessments. Both hospitals concluded that she showed no symptoms of depression and no symptoms of anxiety. With these reports in hand, on December 26, 2022, Li Yixue filed a criminal lawsuit against the Jiangxi Psychiatric Hospital in Dinggong Road Police Station. By 2023, although the case had gone through both first and second trials, no final judgment was reached. Li Yixue also used videos and other media to share her story, gaining widespread attention from Chinese netizens. Each of her videos recently garnered around 1.5 million views, and her Douyin account received over 9.5 million likes. She says she does this to bring a ray of hope to people under the dark rule of the Chinese Communist Party. I handled the lawsuit against the Jiangxi Psychiatric Hospital completely on my own. From filing the case to the pretrial meetings and 2 hearings in the first trial, I did it all without accepting any form of help. People are eager to see the outcome of this case because it's about the personal freedom of every individual. The ruling here could push China's judicial system forward. Today, the police can forcibly send me to a mental hospital, and tomorrow they could do the same to you. When the police and mental hospitals team up, even stray dogs on the street would be scared. I can't speak for other cities, but at least in Jiangxi, I have to stop the police from sending people to mental hospitals like this. So far, my story has been viewed over 1 billion times online. If I can't win, then there's no hope for all the people around the country who've been wrongly labeled as mentally ill. That's why I haven't given up yet. If everything around you feels dark, I'm that small spark of light. And if someone tries to extinguish my light, they'll have to take away everyone's. A year passed, and by December 15th, 2024, there was still no result in Li Yixue's lawsuit. But that evening, she suddenly posted a distress message saying that over 12 police officers had barged into her home and even destroyed the security cameras at her door. After the last post, Li Yixue went missing again. This sparked massive public attention across China. On December 21st, the Nanchang Public Security Bureau issued a written statement saying that Beijing Ending Hospital, a well-known psychiatric hospital, had diagnosed Li Yixue with obsessive-compulsive disorder and personality disorder. As a result, on December 22nd, the authorities once again sent Li Yixue to a mental hospital. In response to the news, netizens left comments such as, "I've watched Li Yixue's videos, and her logic and communication skills are so strong, just like a spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I don't believe she's sick. Please help Li Yixue. She definitely knows some secrets, and that's why they forcibly sent her to a mental hospital. There's definitely something they don't want anyone to know, so they silenced Li Yixue, who dared to ask questions." In the face of all this, Li Yixue had previously posted a video saying that after exposing the dark reality of the Chinese Communist Party using mental hospitals to persecute people, she knew what consequences she would face, but she wouldn't back down. "I'm back to the mental hospital after suing them. Let me tell you this, if I was sent there once, I'm not afraid of being sent again. Bring it on, do whatever you want, but let me remind you of one thing. If you send me to the mental hospital again, you'd better make sure I don't come out alive. If I walk out of there again, then I'm sorry. I'll definitely deal with you completely in the way only a mental patient can. I promise if you don't believe it, you can give it a try." Why has this legal operation lasted so long? Because when the police detain 100 people, they bet that 99 of them won't dare to fight back, and usually they're right. That's why this tactic works over and over again. Why is it so tough for the first person to win? Because once that first person wins, the other 99 will follow, and the entire operation will collapse. That's why the first case is so critical. It has the power to overturn the whole system. Is it hard? Of course, I know it's hard, but no matter how hard it is, we have to face it head on. Li Yixue's forced return to a mental hospital has shattered the public's understanding of basic rights. The incident has caused an uproar not only among Chinese netizens who are questioning the authorities, but also among overseas activists. They've launched the Snowflake Action, calling on the Jiangxi authorities to release her and condemning the Chinese government's use of psychiatric detention to silence dissenters and activists. Release Li Yixue. She's not the one with a mental illness, you are. Have you ever seen someone with a mental illness express their thoughts on camera with such clarity, logic, and composure? Have you ever seen someone with a mental illness stay calm and collected while facing danger? Have you ever seen a mental patient accurately predict that they would be sent back to a psychiatric hospital? Don't use the diagnosis from the Beijing Ending Hospital as an excuse. The assessment shows that Li Yixue was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder and personality disorder. and was deemed to have full criminal responsibility, meaning she can recognize and control her actions in any criminal situation. Now, let me ask, in today's society where the pressure is immense, are there few people with personality disorders? Should they all be sent to mental hospitals? Moreover, the evaluation concluded that she has full mental competency. For someone who can fully take responsibility for their actions, does that meet the criteria for being sent to a hospital for compulsory treatment? What evidence proves that she has violent tendencies that could endanger others or harm society? Sending someone who doesn't have a mental illness to a psychiatric hospital. You are the ones who are mentally ill. You must release Li Yixue. On December 23rd, a lawyer named Fang Jian showed his support for Li Yixue by doing a live broadcast on Douyin. During the live stream, with over 4,000 viewers watching, several police officers intentionally obscured their badges and forcibly detained him. You can enforce the law, but leave your badge numbers. Let me see your badges and work IDs. You must come with us to explain what's happening. I want to grab my stuff first. Go to the police station to get it. Let me take my stuff. My ID is inside. American commentator Tang Jingyuan remarked, "The whole internet has been looking for Li Yixue. She's been sent to a mental hospital again, and the assessment agency is from over 1,000 kilometers away in Beijing at Anding Hospital. This police case is really strange." Du Wen, former head of the Legal Advisor Office for the Inner Mongolia government, posted a video on X saying, "The root cause behind the Li Yixue incident is the evil, authoritarian system of the Chinese Communist Party. It constantly shows that it has the power to fully control and ruthlessly crush every ordinary person." We must clearly point out, in any normal society with an independent judiciary, media oversight, and effective checks on public power, it would be impossible for situations like locking up anyone they want to occur. But why is this so common in China? Why do similar incidents keep happening? Why are almost no cases of people being falsely labeled as mentally ill getting a fair trial? The root cause behind this is the Chinese Communist Party's long-standing authoritarian rule. It has built a whole system of high-pressure control that allows countless secretive actions to operate with impunity. Hospitals, the police, and local governments are in cahoots, trampling on citizens' most basic freedoms, dignity, and legal rights. Du Wen also said that today's judiciary, police, and psychiatrists in China have become accomplices in the Communist Party's persecution of the people. Under such a regime, what kind of rule of law is there to speak of? Justice is supposed to bring justice to the victims and be the last barrier to social justice. Instead, it has degenerated into a tool manipulated by the Communist Party and its government. Hospitals, which are supposed to be kind and caring, have become accomplices in the persecution of dissidents and human rights defenders. The police, which is supposed to be protecting the people, habitually send the victims to psychiatric hospitals to help themselves to solve all the troubles. This is the absurd reality under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party. It doesn't need the truth, it only needs to maintain stability in the fastest way possible. It doesn't care about good, evil, and justice. It only cares about controlling everything and eliminating all dissenting voices. From the Public Security Bureau to the psychiatric hospitals, they all talk about politics and interests but not the law. Finally, Du called on the public to post a picture of a snowflake on social media to speak out for Li Yixue and rescue the girl. As we can all imagine, Li Yixue is currently being restrained, bound, and force-fed. They are artificially turning a normal girl into a psychopath. This is an incredibly huge crime. We must cry out that such naked power and brutality has become intolerable. Li Yixue's reincarceration isn't only a tragedy for her, but also a symbol that anyone who tries to speak the truth, reason, or question the system in this part of China may face the same fate at any time. The CCP's imprisonment of the victim in the name of mental illness is an insult to humanity, a devouring of freedom, and a trampling on the precious life and dignity that God has given us. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with your friends. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.